to the program. I am Irma and I am joined by Pau. Pau, how are you?
Hello, Irma. I'm doing well. I'm super excited today because we have a special guest with us, as you can see. As everyone can see, we have Vidhi here. So I'll let her introduce herself. So Vidhi, how can you tell us more about you?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was like my 6th or 7th time in Monterrey. I love it. I like the city with the mountain vibe. So thank you guys for having me. And of course, the first thing that I did when I landed was I just took my bags to the hotel and immediately I needed some tacos. I needed some agua fresca. We're chicken, pollo and camarones only over here. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. But
We
also,
forgive you. We forgive you.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm super happy to be here.
oh, that's nice.
We are so happy to have you too. But we want to know you a little better. We want to know who is Vidhi, where are you from, and what are those experiences that make you the leader that you are today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I was born in India, and I'm an only child, which is pretty.
Me too.
Yes, it's really unusual in an Indian family, but I guess my parents had enough after me. So it's just me. I moved to the U.S. To New Jersey when I was 6 years old. So
Very young.
Yes, pretty young. English is my third language.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up fluently speaking Gujarati, which is like my native tongue, and Hindi because we watched all the Bollywood movies. So yes, a lot of those. And so English is my sort of third language. And, being an only child and, immigrating to a new country with parents who have to grow up really quickly. I'm going to the doctor's appointments with my parents. I'm filling out the forms because I picked up English much quicker than they did. And so it's really funny because now full circle as an adult, now I'm certified and I teach English as a second language to different immigrants and refugees. And that's like my little full circle moment. But yeah, that's a really big defining thing. I think coming to this country really young and, seeing my parents work super hard, and that's transformed into who I am today. And then a big part was also my grandparents lived with us. And so, trying to make it in this country, both of my parents, they worked, multiple jobs to kind of make it here. And so I spent a lot of time in my childhood with my grandparents. So
And as an only child. So
Yes.
you were very,
all the attention was on me. I didn't necessarily love that a lot. I really wanted a younger brother growing up.
really?
But that's okay. My grandparents, like I said, big, I would say, as a leader in and out of like the workplace. I am like who I am because of my grandparents. My grandmother was super soft, very creative, extremely like empathetic to people, to animals. And then my grandfather was just fierce, and he was a photographer. He did travel photography.
Wow.
So super adventurous. So I think who I am is a mix of a little bit of that hard, maybe exterior, but like that soft interior and really sort of caring about people. So yeah, I can't be Vidhi without my ba and my dada. So
Yeah, oh, nice. I'm also an only child, and I think that I'm super happy to be an only child.
I don't mind it. I find a lot of peace with myself. I don't need a lot of like external things. I am quite content with myself, and like that alone time, I'm super okay with. So I feel recharged. And now in my adulthood, I have my partner of 8 years, Josh. It's not your, it's not a romantic love story. We swipe right on Hinge. Here we are.
But that's also a romantic story.
It is.
8 years is a lot.
Years is a long time. Let's just say individuality keeps us together. And it's just us two, and I have an almost 13-year-old baby. She's a fur baby, Layla. She's my dog, but like
You're a dog.
yes, we are. I am your prototypical like millennial dog mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my dog eats better than I do. All of the money that I make at PepsiCo goes to Layla. It's just us. And yeah, we enjoy a lot of the outdoors, nature, a lot of kind of quality time together. And yeah, this is my, a new little family that I love.
Oh, it's nice to hear about your story, about you. And I know that with this conversation, we are going to know you much better. But all the things that you share with us, I mean, your personal story has an impact in your career. I know that that has an impact. So I want to know what were the most important moments in your career and how that story, how that things that you lived before has had an impact in your actual career.
Sure. So, I mean, I studied HR management, and my first job out of college was in the financial services industry. And, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I think it just gave me really thick skin off the bat in my career. And then moving more to, I've worked at another CPG before. I like that culture and environment. And I think it's always been that mix of supporting salary folks and frontline is important because growing up, both of my parents worked in factories. My mom worked in a factory that made like the different like plastic styrofoam cups and plates.
Okay.
My dad now, he works in a warehouse for FedEx. And so think about things like scheduling tools, right? Like all the things that we're working on, it applied to my parents, or like how we pay employees. It was really important for my parents to get an accurate paycheck. So there is that sort of personal piece in there that I think really ties into who I am today. And I think the other thing that was important is that I never wanted to be kind of niched into a particular subject. So when I thought of HR, I wanted to do a little bit of everything. Because at the end of the day, I can't say like, oh, I want to be a TA leader or a TR leader. I want to be well-rounded. So I did a lot of stuff in like benefits administration, reporting and analytics, a lot of things in like ServiceNow, knowledge management, kind of making my way around, even if there was subject matter that I didn't like, because I knew like as an individual, that's how you grow. You have to get a little taste of everything. And then I think that helps sort of, future in your career. So I did a little bit of that. And then coming here to PepsiCo, it'll be 4 years in April. So I started off, it was just a team of 3 of us. There was no, North America sort of HR ops team. My manager sort of started that team, Amadeo. And we supported sort of that historical GPS journey and supporting foods, beverages, corp, all of the process optimization stuff. So yeah, I kind of like zigzagged. And I always tell people it's not always like a ladder just like upward.
Linear.
You gotta do a little bit of that zigzag to first of all figure out what you like. And then I just think, again, you're just well-rounded. You can talk to a little bit of everything, every kind of subject. And I think that was important. But again, keeping the employee in mind. I know everyone talks about employee experience, but it's like my parents were the employees. It's very easy for me to take off my HR hat and put my employee hat. It's natural for me to do that.
Wow, it's great how all these experiences that you have lived all your life have shaped you into the leader that you are today. Yeah. So now we know that you are an HR director. So we want to know more about your job, how it impact the company. What do you do in your daily basis? What does your team do?
Of course. So for the past 2 years, I am the HR lead for our corporate and global groups and functions. So under myself, I have the team of our HR coordinators that support all of the employees. And so I went from supporting just North America to basically all 80 countries. I partner with all of the capability centers, all time zones. And I think that's been super interesting, kind of taking what are the global initiatives, but how can I also be an advocate for this group, right? To make sure that the employee experience, the HR business partner experience, and the manager experience sort of matters as we roll out technology, process, things like that. So I partner a lot with like the end-to-end employee lifecycle, from when somebody is hired to promotions to job changes. How does that work throughout the countries, international transfers, right? How am I making the life of an employee and an HR business partner easier, right? Through process, through technology, making sure there's sort of clear understanding. It's sort of like, it's just chaotic. There's so many changes, so many nuances. I'm sort of that one person that kind of brings it together for folks. And that's kind of what I love doing throughout all of my jobs, is taking sort of chaos, broken pieces. How do I bring it together? How do I make it understandable? Which is very similar, if you think about it, to like teaching English. English is a tough language. How do I take something complex like that and make it understandable? That's pretty much what I do in my job. I become the SME of these complex subjects and I make them digestible for the end user. And that's kind of overall how I would describe my job.
And that's a big challenge, no?
It is. It's difficult. Just because I think a lot of us, we're perfectionists and we want to know everything about everything. And, coming into Pepsi, it's like, okay, you have foods. There's so much historical knowledge there. And you work with all these folks that have grown up in Pepsi. And when you come from the outside in, it's like, how will I ever attain all of this? But I think a big part of too why I think I've been like successful in this role is coming with like humility. I think that's the biggest thing. Just because I've worked in other organizations that have had maybe a path that has been more accelerated, you have to humble yourself down to why is sort of Pepsi the way that it is? What has historically happened? What's the day in the life? And I think that's how you build credibility. I understand, right? What is an average person that works at a plant? What is, one of the route drivers? What's their day-to-day like? You have to humble yourself down to then, right, be a leader or make these like big decisions that impact day-to-day people.
I love that you said that the path, the career path, that's something sometimes you have to follow or to change or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know that, but because before this program, the podcast, the recording of the podcast, I was talking with Vidhi. So you said that you had 4 years at PepsiCo and you started to talk about a career path. So I want to know what do you think are the most important skills to have a great growth across the company, specifically talking about the growth in PepsiCo? What are those skills that you identify across these years that you have been working here?
For sure, flexibility and just the ability to kind of pivot and not get bogged down by all the changes. I mean, let's be real. I think as like humans, change is really difficult for us. As much as we want to embrace it, it's not natural for us sometimes. But I think if you can just develop sort of going with that flow and being flexible and seeing the silver lining sometimes in the roles that we have to do, there might be things we might not love. You have to find that silver lining of how am I going to grow for this? I think that helps your career. And the second thing that I learned, I think, it probably took me like 3 years in my professional career to learn that nobody will advocate or sponsor you more than yourself. I think sometimes we think like, well, I did such a great job for this past year. Okay, I guess I should be like promoted. So I'm just going to wait till that happens. I know it's cliche. Everyone's like, own your career, but it is true. Yeah. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. And I think your manager as well. What do you want? What kind of brings you joy? And then sort of go after it. So I think the flexibility and the self-advocacy is how you sort of navigate yourself around PepsiCo. And like I mentioned, I think humility. You cannot come with this like know-it-all sort of attitude, no matter sort of what team you're supporting, what business you're supporting. You have to humble yourself and just be really open to learning, no matter if you're a director or like whichever level. Humility. I just think it's a really big part of being successful here.
Yes, I think that sometimes we are so we know that we need something and that we want more, but we want to be patient and we want to be we need to be humble. Yeah. And we need to know that I'm learning. This is a career path that I need to follow. Sure. And you have to trust. You have to trust your leader. You have to trust your partner. So we want to know more about those hard times.
Yeah.
There are some times that are not as easy as we want it to be. So do you have a special moment that you remember that it was a hard time, and how did you get through it?
I think in my like journey of, wanting to do all of the different things, I realized pretty quickly there were certain aspects of HR that I wasn't comfortable with. For me, it was always like total rewards, like bonus cycle. So, in my last job before PepsiCo, it was time for me to like move into something new. And I just got completely thrown into that annual bonus cycle, right? I didn't have a compensation background. I wasn't very comfortable, right, with the details and the intricacies like that happen at like Focal Point here. Yeah. So it was a bit of kind of, I think we have some like imposter syndrome, like me, yes. You want me to lead this and pay out all of North America? How can me, the person, do this? I think that was the biggest challenge of a little bit of like trusting myself. And even if I wasn't perfect, even if, what I was delivering wasn't exactly the way that I wanted it at that moment, going with it. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this? I don't want maybe a future in this space. And I realized at the end of it that it was like really pivotal of how confident I was. I was like, look at me. I worked in like, technology and normal service delivery, and I just paid out all of North America. And nothing crashed. Like, Vidhi, you can do it. It wasn't the most exciting subject matter for me. No. Was I excited throughout it and like super bubbly and passionate about it? No, but it is exactly what I needed in that time of career of like something may not seem so nice and shiny. And if you're kind of afraid of it, unfortunately, the best way to get over it is to get through it. And so you have to just do these things. And, at that point I was like, I can't believe my manager signed me up for this. And, I thank my manager for pushing me through that, because I pretty much lost my imposter syndrome then. I became much more confident in my career that if I can get through that and not be this like SME and still make it work and learn, I can get through anything.
And it's a fight now with yourself. Like,
it's completely internal.
Sometimes your leader doesn't even know that you are so insecure. You only do the job, and then you go to your house, and maybe you are like, I don't know if I am
Crying
right
to my friends. Yes. What am I doing? Yes, of course. But I think it comes with time. I think even when you give advice about these, it's so easy for people to say, but believe in yourself. There's going to be a moment, there's going to be like this formative thing in your career, and then it will happen. You can't force it, and no one can tell you. You just have to kind of go through it, unfortunately. But everything works out in the end. And I think too, it's just like trust the universe.
And you know that it happens to all of us, I think. Maybe it happened to me sometimes. But you don't know how capable you are to do something until you do it, until you are in the moment, until you put all your efforts, all your heart, everything to do it and to achieve that.
Yeah.
So it's a great story. I think it's inspiring. I love to hear about you. And you tell us that you work in many other companies. And with your experience, with your career path, with all that you've been through, what are the things that makes PepsiCo different? I mean, in terms of culture, leadership, the things that we live, the opportunities to grow. What are the difference in this company?
I would say the biggest one, I'll have one that I want to touch on, I think, is that like we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk with consumer centricity.
Yeah.
Like we do bleed Pepsi blue. I think lots of companies say we care about our employees or we care about our brand. I mean, Pepsi is like on steroids with it, and I love it. Like, you need that fire, you need that sort of passion, you need to believe in like what you're doing. I think what sets Pepsi apart from some of the other organizations that I've worked at is that it's like a consistent sort of, we are rooting, right, for Pepsi, we're rooting for our employees, and that just never stops. And I love that because to me it feels more genuine. There's a bit of like purpose, like why do I wake up and do the job that I do, right? It's because I care about the client group that I support. I care about the actual people. I don't think Pepsi just like talks about it. I think that's who we are inherently. That to me is like the game changer comparatively to any other organization that I've worked with.
And I think we are always thinking about the consumer, but also I think and I know it's not my podcast, but I think that we are also caring about our employees, right? About the person that surround us, the teams that help us to do our work better or to achieve that KPIs, targets, etc. So I think that it's all the kind of environment that we have, that we care about people in general.
Like a 360 experience.
Yeah,
like from inside and outside.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And again, that to me is also, as somebody who wants to be well-rounded, I thrive in a company that is also well-rounded like that. If we were kind of just tunnel vision on just certain pieces, I don't think that would bring me joy. I think that's why I enjoy it here, is because we think about it fully, from an employee to a manager to an HR person, the ops space, more of the people space. all of it collectively, I think, is what it makes it chaotic, but it also makes it fun. And you don't work here unless you love the chaos secretly. So
That's why we are all here. So
And talking about chaos, technology is evolving very fast nowadays.
yeah.
What do you think is going to look the future in HR?
I mean, obviously, like right now, what's like the biggest buzzword that we're hearing? AI, right? Like
Yeah.
technology. We've always been kind of on this like digitalization journey. I think like HR is really going to have to think about a purposeful way to bring it in place, right? Are we just automating for the sake of automating? Like, what is it really tying into the employee experience as a person outside of the company, right? Like, how do you order your food on Uber Eats? Would you be annoyed if it was 5 clicks over like 3 clicks, right? Nowadays, a lot of times we love to do things online. I don't know if we always love to be in person, right? So applying some of that in the workplace with this new generation too is going to be different. And I think there's going to have to be like a focus on retention. It's a new way of working. Like I said, a new generation of work-life balance to me is always going to be a core thing. It still is for me. It's very important for me. And I instill that within my team. Like work will always be there. It will be fine. You have to sort of stay true to yourself, and we don't have a lot of time in the world, and I think it's like really important to have that balance. But I think for the future and the new generation of employees that are sort of coming in, the retention piece and kind of moving along with some of the changes of the generation are going to be really important for us to be successful. And again, not just throwing shiny new tools because it's fancy and it's like nice to have an automation. Being more thoughtful about what we're doing and why we're doing it.
oh my God, I've never thought that your answer will be that, but it's amazing to hear what you're telling to not to think only about the tool that's going to come, but much more because of what we're doing with next generation of employees, next generation of needs that our consumer can have. So that's interesting to hear about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenging future, not only about the tools, but about the people.
People as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said at the beginning that you like to go to the park with your dog, and all of you were saying that these kind of things that we have to learn how to live with technology, but also with the outside world, and we have to get off the screen. We're going to be crazy, maybe. I don't know.
Listen, I grew up playing in the mud, and now my my cousins for a little, they have their iPads, so it's totally different. So yes, kind of getting with the evolving times, but again, that work-life balance piece, the well-being piece, I think is going to shoot right back up in importance.
Oh, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. And I think it's a great point of view, what we are expecting in the future. It's interesting. So I know that you are super excited to be here. And I want you to know that in this podcast, we want to our audience learn about the lessons that our leaders have been through their career, through their professional or personal life. So before we end this podcast, this program that has been amazing by now, I want you to tell me what's your biggest lesson that you want to share with the audience that you've learned across your career or your personal life so they can learn from you.
Absolutely. I think I covered a lot of those, right? With
Yeah.
like flexible and things, but 2 things I think are important. One is something my grandfather grew up telling me, which was, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
Okay.
And as somebody who was, a chronic people pleaser, like, you don't have to sort of shapeshift yourself to make every single person or thing happy. You stay true to yourself, and you have to just be okay with, you won't be everyone's favorite cup of tea, and that's cool. You can still be successful, and you can still keep people and things at mind. So I would say that's one. And I think the second thing too is purpose-driven work. Find the things that actually bring you joy and figure out a way you translate that into work, right? Outside of work, I like art, I like nature, I like the journey, right? I like fixing things. Find a way to translate that into the work that you do. And I think that will keep you hungry. It'll keep you motivated. Don't just do a job because, okay, well, I guess I could do this job because I'm probably good at it. Like, always question why. Why do I wake up? Why do I do the things, that I'm doing in the work day? And again, like, you just don't have a lot of time. Be really mindful about how you want to spend it. And, you owe that to yourself as a person, as a human. And I would say that's very important. Stay true to yourself. And that will take you where you need to go. And like I said, it's not always an upwards journey. Trust yourself and trust the universe. You are going to be exactly where you need to be. And I firmly believe that.
I truly believe that we all need a purpose in life. Yeah. We have to love what we do. And we always need to see the big program, all the way we need to have these eyes open and
you get stuck with these little things, and at the end of the day, they don't matter.
Yeah. Or sometimes you are stuck in that thing that you said, oh my God, that's a big problem. And then you sat down and breathe and said, oh, but wasn't that
in the grand scheme of things, it's not the birds are still chirping, the sun is still shining. Like, it's fine. It's really fine.
And sometimes when you are talking with a friend, like you are telling them your problem, and then when you are hearing to yourself, you're like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Sometimes it just honestly feels good to get it out, though. Yes. That's naturally what we do. We got to get it out and then just realign, kind of come back to ourselves, and then everything's fine. And another day, we figure it out.
I love your advices. I think that you keep them that simple, but sometimes you can see that, like it's simple. Be yourself, trust yourself.
Don't overcomplicate life. Just go with it.
And you don't have to be everyone's favorite.
I love that also.
I love that. You're not going to die.
I know, and I hate to say that because, of course you want to be the person in the room that people can kind of like come to, and you want to find a way to connect to people. Yeah. But you can still be who you are, and that's fine. You're somebody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
What a great what a great word to end,
Yes. Vidhi, we are super, super inspiring. Yeah. This was a very inspiring moment for us. Thank you very much for sharing your powerful message. We are so grateful with you to share this time with us. So we want to have you maybe in another time. Maybe we can have a part 2. But today we are done.
I'm ready.
Oh,
maybe you guys give me like a year to learn Spanish because I came here and I made you guys do this in English. So maybe I have to come back and do it in Spanish.
And learn your 4 languages.
Learn it. Yes, Duolingo.
That would be amazing. You're always welcome here at this space in Monterrey that I know that you said that you love Monterrey. So you're going to be back sometime, and we are going to have you here again.
Yeah, it'll be fun to connect again.
So guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you, Patel, for being my co-host today. So thank you all for joining us today. This was a great talk. Yeah. And maybe we're going to have a part 2 in Spanish. So stay tuned for new episodes. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.